and I'll hand you over to Mark Temple from the University of Glasgow, who will be talking about their experience with a shared service management tool. How are you today, Mark?
Very well, thanks. Sorry, you got me on the hop there. You hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Grand, thanks, Scarlett. I was just going to say, I'm happy to take, I don't know if there's questions in the chat, we might not get to them all, but we're going to be here all day, so I will definitely pick them up, and there'll be contact details there if anyone wants to get in touch. Okay, can I just kick off then, Scarlett?
Yep, we're all ready.
Lovely, thank you. Okay, hi everyone. Mark Temple from the University of Glasgow. I'll do a wee bit of an introduction in a minute, but as you can see from the title here, this is all about using one platform, something that you perhaps bought to do ITSM a while ago, and making it work across your enterprise, making it work for areas outside of IT. So that hopefully there's some real world examples for you all here, which in an education context hopefully ring true with you. I've been having a bit of an issue with my slides this morning, so I'm not pulling the strings here, so I'm going to have to ask Scarlett to move them on each one at a time. So Scarlett, could we move on to the next one, please? Okay, the short bit about me. So I work at the University of Glasgow, have done for coming to close on 30 years now. IT is not my first gig, and the university wasn't my first gig either. So I've worked in IT probably, I don't know, 17 years now of my working life, and I've done quite a few jobs in IT, starting with desk side support, through to managing our old service management platform and managing our service desk, managing IT training, which I still do, but my focus mainly at the moment is on our enterprise service management initiative, getting all of our chums in different functions and factions to use the principles that we in IT have been doing for a long time. You know, it's kind of bread and butter stuff to us, but a lot of the rest of the organisation don't. You know, they don't have the ITILs and these kind of things. So we'll talk about all of this. Other outside interests I have, I'm regional chair of ITSMF in Scotland. Contact details there. If at any time, you know, give me a shout. You know, whether it's today or in the future, say hello. Happy to share our experiences and, you know, share our mistakes as well. Scarlett, could you kick me on a slide, please? Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, a brief overview. I mean, enterprise service management is it's an ill-defined. I think it's almost, you know, make it fit what it means to you, is my view on it. There probably are some definitions out there, but we'll look at what it means certainly to the University of Glasgow. We'll look at, I think there's how do I put it, education, quite often people like to focus on what makes them different, and that's even within your own organisation. You know, a lot of us do things that are very similar, but we like to make it seem at least that it's different. You know, there's probably a bit of a protectionist view in there, but what I want to focus on is not what makes us different, but what makes us, you know, what we do that's similar, and how we can help each other to achieve those goals. Looking at linkage across services, you know, where where are the touch points between, within services, where are the touch points across different services and quite disparate services. So we'll have a look at how all that knits together, which is going to be great for Scarlett controlling that slide, but we'll get to that one. We've obviously, the same as everyone else, the last 6-7 months have been crazy. We've had to do so much in such a short period of time, things that we'd never contemplated we would have to do, and we've had to do them at pace. So I'll go through some examples of certainly, and I imagine you will all have had similar experience, but just again, being able to do that at pace, and I believe that's again one of the benefits of the enterprise service management approach, is that you can stand these services up in a very short period of time. The reality in life is that not everyone wants to get on the same bus as you for this. It's not, people like to do this. Some people like to do things the way that they've been doing for a long time and just leave us alone. You will face obstructions to the adoption of ESM, as you will face obstructions to the adoptions of anything that you want to do in life. That you will have volunteers, and then you will have conscripts, and that's the reality of it. So looking at what can get in the road, and then finishing off hopefully on a positive in terms of what are the real benefits of doing it. What are we? Why will we bother? Scarlett, can you give me a kick on another one, please? Okay, so as way of a brief description, what is enterprise service management to me? It's applying service management principles and practices across multiple disciplines and functions. I'm a believer in that a common platform goes a long way to making this work, and for us, we would not have achieved the success that we have done with it without using a common platform, because that's part of something I'll touch on later on. The main benefits come from using a common platform. And I'm not here to sell service management platforms. Other flavors do exist from the one that we use. So hopefully that sets the scene. So if we can kick on another one, please, Scarlett. So I mentioned earlier about no names, and we probably all know these people. Hopefully you're not looking in the mirror at one. People who, they very much, their job in the university, they see as being, at times they're the only person who can do it or should do it. Their section has done it this way. They don't want interference from others. They're happy with their shared mailbox because that's how they've managed their work. They're happy with what I call cut out and keep Word documents, that they download a form, print it out, get a wet signature on it, scan it back in, email it to your boss, etc. These kind of things. And it's, I think it's quite an old-fashioned way of looking at work, when we could have, we could be doing stuff online, dynamic forums, etc. So things that we can bring together. But ultimately, if you look across your enterprise, we're all doing things very similar. We might call them different things, we might speak slightly different languages, but a lot of what we do is the same. And by that I mean, if I look at IT with its incidents and changes in service requests, now HR won't thank me for, incidents mean nothing to them, changes probably mean nothing to them. Service requests, I think they could get the hang of that terminology, but they talk about cases, they talk about inquiries. If I look at our campus security, they talk about, they have incidents as well, same as IT do, but they're different incidents. You know, this is a, there's been a gas leak, there's a hole has appeared in the middle of the road, somebody's fallen and bumped their head. These kind of things are incidents to them. But they also, they deal with, obviously, crimes and lost property, found property, that kind of thing. But all of these, the commonality is we need to record who has reported it or requested it, what is it, where is it in its life cycle, and you know, who's dealing with it, how can we report against it, all of these kind of things. These are common across all of your disciplines, whether you're in HR, whether you're in finance, IT, campus security, data protection, complaints handling, student support. Any of these areas need to capture that data, to manage the query, the inquiry, the incident, the lost property, whatever, through its life cycle. And the chances are you've got an ITSM product that does that. That's its mission in life, is to enable that to happen. Now that's all very well. I talk about we do speak slightly different languages. So I'm saying about, we call them incidents and changes in IT. HR talk about cases and inquiries. They will not thank you, or they certainly wouldn't thank me, if I say to them, yes, it's fine, you can use our ITSM platform, but just when if you're thinking about inquiries, just think about them as incidents. And if you're thinking about cases, just we'll call them service requests. So wherever you see service requests, you think case, and they're really gonna love that. You know, it's not in a language that they speak. Even looking at the term customer, if I look at IT may call the person a customer, HR may call them an employee, complaints may call them a complainant, or data protection office may call them a subject, or campus security may call them a witness. You know, it's that kind of the difference in language that you need to be, if you want to make this a success, my humble opinion is that you need to be able to make your platform speak in the language of the people who are using it. So when they open up, you know, they have a role-based view of the world that has everything in their language, their terminology. No, you know, the HR using a system, don't think that they're using an IT system that's been bent into a certain shape to make it look like an HR system. They think they're using a best of breed HR platform. So that's, I think, you know, that is a really, really important thing to get this to work, is to make sure that you're giving people what they want. You're not making it a different colour or a different language for the sake of it. It's a business requirement. Scarlett, can we move on one, please? Okay, this is where your finger's going to get sore. Talking about links between teams, if you just give me a click here, please, Scarlett. And I'll try and move through this one because this slide can last for half an hour on its own. I'll spare you that. Another beauty of having the common platform is that you have the linkage between the different teams using it. So whereas before you may have been sending emails around the side, you may have been phoning people up, you may have been sticking stuff in the post to them, if they're using a common platform, you can then escalate through the platform. Now that may be simply, you know, assigning tasks from a parent case or a parent inquiry off to another team to do something. You've got full visibility of what's happening at any given time. So, you know, we have all of these teams, and you'll see many linkages between them. If you kick on another one, please, Scarlett. Okay, in fact, yeah, please just kick through the lot of them. I'll backtrack and tell you some of the linkages here. You know, and this is not an exhaustive list. You know, this list could be 10 slides in its own right. You'll have had your exam support that, again, on the same platform as student support, we're able to escalate something where it's more of an academic matter rather than a technical matter. Our HR and our occupational health, very strong links between them. A manager referring a member of staff to occupational health, but obviously HR have an input in this. So how do we have a secure platform where the right people can see the data? Some people can change it, other people can't. It's all watertight from a data security point of view. And people have real-time data where they need it. That they've, and I'll talk about dashboards and the likes that we have. So you can see, looking at even our finance and sports. So we had our, I'm amazed anyone ever got money taken off them for membership of our gym. And that, it was a paper-based, clunky process, which there was the membership element to it, there was the identity management element to it, so that the person's swipe card worked on the turnstiles to let them in. There was the finance side of it to charge it against their payroll. And this was these were bits of paper that went all around the place, and at no time, I think, did anyone have an overview of where all of the bits of paper were. So given that, you put that in one system where you now have an absolute closed loop process, you can see at any given time where it is. If there's a delay, where is this delay? The customer's kept informed, so it makes sense on so many levels. And we're just, every day we're finding another use for this. There's and I'll go into a number of examples of these in a few minutes. But just so many touch points, and that's where you need to start looking. Where are your cliched quick wins? Can we, looking at the volumes, looking at the where the most pain is, if we were to to put this, to get these two warring factions on the one platform, talking the same language to, in effect, where is that going to give us the biggest benefit? Scarlett, can we kick on? Thank you. So, looking at what we've all had to face, and I'm sure some of these examples will ring true with you in what you've had to do. COVID-19 reporting has, obviously the education sector, there's been a lot of press about it. But we do, from a welfare point of view, we need to know at any given time where we are, who needs support, etc. And we've been using this platform within our living support for probably 18 months now. So that's all our residences, so if anything from reporting, fire alarms going off to, people setting the smoke alarms off, to anything that happens, whether it's medical or behavioural or whatever, is all reported through this platform and managed through this platform. So a natural extension of that was that we provided a form within the portal to where staff and students could either self-report or where required, someone else reported for them. And that gave real time, and that's the beauty of this. It's real time analysis of where we are, numbers wise, status, etc. And that goes, that's just one use case. But again, that was we need this tomorrow. It's not let's talk about it for a month and then have another couple of weeks development time. It's, we need this tomorrow, make it happen tomorrow. And that's where when you're developing against or integrating one platform that you've got the ability to do that. You don't have dozens of different systems doing things. You can focus in one place, get stuck in and get it done. Hot desk booking, again, we had no facility for doing this, and it was a case of, can you create something to? I'm like, okay, right. So yeah, able to spin that up at very short notice, allowing where someone required a desk for a day, so they had the desk for the day. It was all sanitized first thing in the morning. They had it for the day. It was sanitized again before someone took it over again. But keeping control of that, you've got the track and trace. You know who was where, that kind of thing. Online exam support, huge initiative, and I'm sure for all of you, going from what would have been 300 people in a big hall sitting on their backsides with bits of paper in front of them to suddenly being online. This was something that our registry supported. IT took nothing whatsoever to do with it, and then all of a sudden the tables are turned and it's registry don't have much to do with it, and it's IT that now need to support it, and you need to get it working in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so again, another, you're able to then, we have registry colleagues, we have IT colleagues, we have Senate colleagues, we have other academic colleagues on the one platform, able to escalate across these very different areas, which we would have been sending odd emails all over the place and not knowing where anything was, where again, we have a central, this is the first time that our Senate has been, has had real-time information on what happens in exams. What are there problems with exam papers? Do students not understand the questions? Are the exam papers written in language that's more labyrinthine than it needs to be? All of this kind of stuff never happened before, but putting it on the one platform, you get a view across the university and you've got live dashboards for it. Laptop loans, as I'm sure a lot of you all had to do. We certainly had to find well over 1,000 laptops and manage the requests process for that. Manage the build of the laptops, and then manage the fulfillment out to the staff or student. So again, different functions. We have our widening participation, we've got a registry financial aid, we have IT, we have the library, all together in the one process, but you can do that because it's a common platform. Scarlett, can you give me a kick, please? Thank you. Other areas we've been working on, I'm just conscious of time here. HR, we have built an HR case management system from the ground up, bringing all of HR together. We have 4 colleges plus Essential University Services HR, who you might be surprised to hear in a university context didn't always do things the exact same way. There were slight nuances in each college, and these things happen. Getting them all together, they worked through their processes and could see that, why do we do it this way? Why, what's different in life sciences as it is to in arts? Why don't we have a common process? So working with the colleagues, fantastic piece of work. This very rewarding piece of work to see how the processes could be improved so much, and the colleagues coming together, having built this from the ground up, and we did it, in not a lot of time. And they were looking to go to market to buy an HR case management tool. I thought, whoa, stop. Let's see what we can do here. So a lot of work with HR at the moment. They're keeping us very busy, taking all of their, again, where a lot of paper-based processes that were we're not closed loop where somebody had to remember to do something and nobody would really had an overview of whether anybody had done stuff at the right time. And a lot of that is, interaction with the manager. The manager doesn't always remember to do something because they only do this when they get a new member of staff, or they only do it, twice a year or something like that. And where we can get that more into onto a platform with some automation, with some visibility, with some notification and prompting, that really makes it sing, and it takes the pain out of a lot of these processes. Very quickly on click and collect library books. Yeah, we've got a library with I don't know how many million books in it, but nobody could come into the library. So how do we sort out the requests, the collections, and monitor all that? So again, a lot of that built into the platform. Dissertation monitoring for our tier, well, started off for tier 4 purposes. That obviously we have to be able to demonstrate that that the student is here, the student is in some way engaged with their advisor's studies, that that this relationship is working and there's demonstrable progress. So again, building that into the system. Scarlett, please, can you kick me on another one? Very quickly, yep, HR probation, and that was a horrible paper-based process that I was probably the worst person at complying with or filling out. That there are steps. There's something the manager needs to do at 3 months, at 6 months, at whatever, and you never remember to do it, and it was all paper-based and whatever. So that's a good piece of work to get that moving and onto a more automated basis. ID card requests, for years, in fact for forever, basically we made every new member of staff come to the library to have their photo taken, to have their card printed out. Now, no one ever challenged this process, myself included, because it worked. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it and all that. Well, they couldn't come to the library because the library was shut, but we've still got new members of staff who do need to access other buildings on campus. So let's take this from being a front of house process, make it a back office process, and just let them upload a passport photo, again through the service management platform. So, yep. Again, I realise I'm getting a bit tight for time, so if we skip through these other, that's grand deal, thanks Scarlett. But just the other use cases, you'll see the slides there, and they're by no means exhaustive. So barriers, culture, this is the way we do things around here. This is the way we've always done things around here. Why do we? I don't want to use your IT widgets. We're quite happy with the way that we're doing things. So it's finding the use cases that work and are going to give you real benefit, and then it becomes less, let's say the people who don't want to join the party have less wriggle room when it's working well for other areas that do the exact same job as them, I think is the message there. You may, your platform may not be able to do it. That might be your problem. See, some platforms claim to do it, but there's still, you can still see artifacts of the other people who are using the system when you're using it, just that when you click on that bit, you can't get into something, but that bit is still staring you in the face that doesn't need to be there in the first place. So yeah, that may be a barrier to it. People wedded to shared mailboxes, the bane of my life, just let us manage everything in a shared mailbox. And well, you've got, there is no reporting on it. There's no visibility of who's doing what, where it is in its life cycle. The customer knows nothing about it. Please, can we get away from shared mailboxes? And again, you may have other systems in place. That may be the reality. So you might have a best of breed, something to do this part, and you're happy using it, fine. Scarlett, can we move on, please, there? So quickly through the benefits. A single portal, so your staff and students don't need to know where to go and find what they want, what they want to request, what they want to report. It's in one place. They don't have to know who provides the service. They don't need to know how your organisation is structured to consume the services that they need to use. So there's one place to go. You're developing against one platform. It makes life easier for everyone. Shared experience, shared practice across the functions. We've got our student services showing our library how they've made improvements, who are then showing finance how they made improvements. It makes the world a much happier place and a closer, we're all closer together. We get the shift left, the process improvement, and using the knowledge base that you can have staff and students in different areas helping out staff and students in other areas because they can see the answer there. They don't have to signpost people. They don't have to tell them, sorry, I can't help you. You need to go walk half a mile up the road to visit the people in building X. You've got, I can look at the knowledge base and say, well, you're talking about a council tax exemption, it says here in the knowledge base. Okay, well, thank you very much. It's a much better customer experience, and say there's less telling people, sorry, I don't deal with that. You need to go and find the person who deals with that. If we move on again, please, Scarlett. And lastly, on benefits, yep. So at an improved customer experience, you have live reporting across your various functions and services. You're looking for common ways where possible to report, for metrics, for benchmarking. You're definitely driving automation with this. You're streamlining your processes. You're identifying and you're making it possible to automate where you can. And the signposting goes, hopefully. The return on investment being you're using one system. If you have a flexible licensing model, it saves you a fortune. You're developing against one system, and so you're not paying support and maintenance, etc., on multiple systems. So I think that's me, Scarlett. Hopefully on time-ish. Apologies if I'm a few minutes over.
That's okay. Thank you so much for that, Mark. That was really insightful. I particularly liked how you talked about dealing with everything going on with COVID. We don't have any audience questions at the moment, but I can see that your contact details are on screen. So if anyone has any questions